Don't you just love one-shotting everything so you don't have to worry about anything at all? I know you all do love one-shot builds because when I made my one-shot rifle build, you guys watched the heck out of that build video. Like, seriously, I appreciate that. However, there were a lot of similar comments which was asking the same question, which is, what are we going to do when we're running this build solo? Like, what changes are we doing here? Are we changing the backpack, like talent to bloodsucker, or using mentor? What are we doing here? I did reply plenty of those comments, but I do get those comments a lot. So instead of replying those comments, you know what? I'm going to make the rifle build, the one-shot rifle build that I made, but this time for solo players. Now, this is, in my opinion, is a bit better because I'm actually clearing legendary content with this. Yes, I am one-shotting legendary enemies because the build is so good in terms of keeping me alive. I can actually take this to a legendary mission, get those kills easily, stay alive at the same time, and clear the content. Like, I can just clear the entire legendary mission fairly quickly, go to the boss room, then swap to the build to a different, like a crit build, and then absolutely just destroy the boss. By the way, this build is coming really soon on the channel. You might want to subscribe. Yeah. Anyways, now, I mean, the reason why I said that because, of course, you cannot one-shot a legendary boss. Like, seriously, you just cannot one-shot a legendary boss. At least alone. But anyways, with this build, you can absolutely clear that content and get to that boss phase really quickly if you want to, or you just want to farm the legendary mission for, you know, like god roll loots. And some people do that actually. Or you just want to farm it for the XP, like 5 times XP or the seasonal rank XP, whatever that is. You know, there's a lot of XP event goes on. Like if you want those SSD levels, you can do it because it's a one-shot build at the end of the day. So yeah, it'll keep you alive and do the damage because we're not sacrificing the damage a lot, which in many cases, you know, you would, because you're adding survivability means you're, you know, just reducing the damage, which we're not doing in this case. You can see the damage number is already pretty similar to my old build. Like 20 million was my goal. Unfortunately, I did not hit that 20 million goal in this build. It is 19.5, 19.7, something like that, but it's there. It's a solo player build, so that much damage is enough to one-shot your targets. If you ever build a build like that, you know that it's enough damage. And also, we're staying alive. So if you're interested, let me show you the build. But first, let's talk about the modifiers. Now, as for the modifiers, I actually changed my passive modifiers a bit because it's not a crit build, so there's no reason to use those modifiers. But I did kept the overdrive modifier here, like the active modifier is the overdrive. It's still the same because when you press that button, like activate the modifier, you get max momentum. It means you're at unstoppable stage. You're not only gaining more weapon damage, skill damage, rate of fire, unlimited ammo, but also your shield is invulnerable. Like you're overcharged, your skills are overcharged, your shield is in vulnerable stage. That means your shield is taking no damage. And having a shield that doesn't take any damage from enemy fire is awesome. So you can use your rifle and get those one-shot kills while no one is damaging you because your shield is basically invulnerable, right? So that's awesome. But even if the modifier is expired, you can still get those kills and try to keep that unstoppable stage active for you. Now for the passive modifiers, I chose Fortified Shield, which basically doubles your shield health. So even if the modifier is not active, I mean the active modifier is not active, you can just you know, have a shield that has more HP, basically more health on the shields, which is nice. And now the other one, I chose reactive reinforcement here because when you take damage, like your shield takes damage, you get healing from it. Since you have a shield that has more health on it, basically double health, means you can activate this very often. So that's why I chose here. Now, as for the third one, it's more like a flex pod. I didn't know what to choose here. I wanted to use the microwave coil, but that kind of needs a pulse to be active, where this one doesn't have any condition. Like all you have to do is get a crit and you get a little bit of healing. Now, we're not critting at all, basically, with our main weapon, so it's not really working. But sometimes if you do, it'll work. And if you're using the Diamondback, then it'll definitely work because with the help of Diamondback's talent, you can have basically crit at all the time, right? Because that's what Diamondback does. So it will be helpful at that particular situation. Otherwise, it's not so important. It's a flex pod, like I said, you can choose whatever you want. So these are all my modifiers. Now, as for the weapons, as you can see, this is the same weapons that I used on my group variant of the one-shot rifle build. So I'm using both the same weapon, which is the 1886 and the Diamondback combo here. They're both similar weapon, like Diamondback, basically the exotic variant of this weapon. So yeah, they do pretty much the same thing. However, 1886 is an amazing weapon because, you know, it's high-end and allow you to use a talent, which in this case is determined talent. So you can get those one-shot, body shot kills, headshot kills as well, leg shot, hand shot, you know, all of that. You know how crazy determined talent is. So yeah, that. Now it doesn't have any mod slot, just one. So I put a 5% headshot damage there. So yeah, that's what I did. The weapon is great. Like the stability is so good. Like this weapon is so stable. Like seriously. Accuracy, however, is not that high. I did added a little bit more accuracy on the weapon, which I'm going to explain in the build section. So if you run around too much, you're probably going to miss your targets because remember, this weapon doesn't have any scope, so you got to keep that in mind. Now, I do have headshot damage as my attribute. So if you have a weapon with the, let's say, damage to target of cover, you can use that, no problem. Since I have headshot damage variant, I'm just using that. So yeah, that. Now, if you have way too much expertise, like 25 and beyond, then of course your damage will be really high. I only have 15% here, which again, similar that I kept on my old build as well. So it's exactly the same over here. Now, the weapon, the reason why it does so much damage, because the base damage of the weapon is higher, and they recently buffed it like last season, I believe. So that allows us to get even more damage. So that way I can drop a little bit damage and then give myself the survivability. However, keep the damage numbers pretty much similar to that 20 million-ish mark, which I did on my group variant of the build, right? I was hitting 20 million over there per shot. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. It's a little less than 20 million, but still, close enough. And of course, I added the survivability and stuff at the same time. So, you can use it easily when you're playing solo. Now, as for the Diamondback, it's an amazing weapon. Honestly, I don't know how much I love this weapon. I cannot explain it in this particular build because it has saved me so many times on a legendary mission. Times when I did not had determined talent active, times when I did not had headhunter talent active. Diamondback has saved me a lot with this agonizing bite talent. When you get that crit going on, like the constant crit, you get that amplified damage at the same time. This thing hits really hard. Like it becomes a pure rifle, crit rifle at that time, and you can just shoot something with a very high damage. Like you're doing 5 million per shot on the body, and you're doing crits. Although all those damage numbers are crit for 5 seconds. So that helps a lot clearing out some of the enemies that you cannot one shot, or maybe at that time you don't have, let's say, headhunter active. So it has helped me. Now, as for the marker, it's fairly simple. Just reload the weapon and mark the target that you want to target. Basically, it'll mark automatically. Just change, the reload, it'll change the target pretty much. And then when you get that kill, you can easily get those, amplified damage. And then for 5 seconds, your shots are just guaranteed crits, and it'll absolutely destroy anything. If you don't have a headhunter active, this weapon will just destroy things, and it has done it for me, so I love it. At least in this build, it's amazing. So these basically are my two weapons. Now, as for the build right now over here, as you can see, it looks a bit weird. I will explain, don't worry about that. And don't run away while seeing the ninja over here, because we are doing pretty much the similar damage as my gift backpack that I used on my old build. You can already see the damage numbers. You know that I am hitting those numbers, like it's very high. So if you want to know how I achieved that, let me explain it. First, the specialization I'm choosing is the gunner and not the sharpshooter, because gunner gives you 10% armor and kill. Plus also, if you stay stable for a second, it gives you 10% weapon handling, which is really good for the weapon, because I'm trying to keep the weapon more stable so you can actually hit your shots, because this weapon doesn't have a scope and I'm blind. So I need that stability and accuracy, and that's what I'm trying to achieve here. And I did plenty of it, which I'll explain, don't worry. Now, coming back to the mask over here, I'm using a Bellstone mask because Bellstone 1-piece head bonus gives you 1% armor regen, which is honestly nothing. 1% is nothing, but still it's a passive regeneration that is constantly going to happen. So it is good. Honestly, it is good. But we do care about that 10% armor and kill, which is the second piece set bonus. And we're getting that from Ninja Bike Messenger Backpack. So it's allowing us to have that second piece set bonus active. Now, this usually drops with blue core, so I change it to weapon damage. I have armor regen, headshot damage mod. If you have with a weapon handling, that's still fine. But armor regen is not bad since you're playing this one solo. Armor regen is nice. It's, it's good. And as for the chest piece, this time I chose Chain Killer. Last time on my previous build, I actually used the Zoo chest piece, which I do have here somewhere, I believe. Yeah, there you go. This is the one I used on my previous build. You can check it if you want to. This is the chest piece I used with Headhunter, headshot damage and weapon handling with the headshot damage mod. However, this time I'm choosing the Chain Killer is because I have lost the Vigilance talent damage on the backpack. So I want to get that damage back somehow. And this is how I'm gaining it, which is getting that 5% weapon damage, 5% damage to armor, and the Perfect Headhunter talent. Now, Perfect Headhunter talent does not do more damage than normal Headhunter. However, it activates quicker. So you need one less shot to fully proc Headhunter. So that's good. and that's the reason why I have it. Obviously, weapon handling, headshot damage mod. You can change this to armor region as well if you want to, but weapon handling is fine. I need that, man. I really do. Now, as for the holster, I have the breaking point holster. Previous build, I used 2 pieces of breaking points, gear piece there. So I'm doing the same thing, but in this case, I'm just using 1 piece. However, Ninja is making 2 pieces, so I get that 25% of rifle damage bonus. I have weapon damage and obviously headshot damage as my attribute. Now, as for the knee pads, again, same Fox's Prayer here because it's a rifle build, so it makes sense. We have rifle damage 10%, but since we're using Ninja, we're getting 30% of accuracy, and that's why my accuracy on the weapon is super high, because of this, the gunner specialization, by staying stable, that. So that's how my accuracy is fairly high on the build. Now, of course, we get that weapon damage, the damage to target of cover, which is really awesome, and obviously headshot damage as the attribute there. Now, for the gloves, I actually chose the Zoo set glove, which, gives us 15% of mag size. So, hey, more mags, not bad. Plus, also, we get 20% of rifle damage. So, yeah, that's why. And also, 15% of weapon handling, the name stats. Now, if I choose any other gloves, I'm gonna add weapon handling here anyway. So, might as well just use this and get more weapon handling, because normally you'll get 6%, right? If you add an attribute, but this is 15, so that's better. And that's also how I'm getting more accuracy, more stability, reload speed and all that because of that weapon handling stat. So yeah, that. And since it's a Zoo set, like I said, you get rifle damage bonus. Now, of course, the backpack is Ninja, which, making sure that all of these set bonuses that I'm using are counting as like 2 set bonus or 3 set bonus like that. So that's why we have Ninja here with the headshot damage mod. So that's pretty much my builds. Fairly simple to make, to be honest. One more funny thing I want to show you. Look at the stats here. Look at the headshot damage. 175%. Very low, but high. Still high. It's high enough to proc Headhunter, because Headhunter needs 150%. I have 175. This is still lower than my old build, though. Like, my old rifle build had, like, I believe 205 or 215, something like that. I forgot. But you guys can check it. But yeah, it was similar like that. But it is low headshot damage. Still, my damage is higher because I added too much rifle damage here to kind of, get back the lost damage from Vigilance Talent. That's pretty much what I did with the setup. Plus, they buffed the rifles based damage in the previous season, so that also helps. Plus, we have our, modifiers like the momentums and stuff, so that also helps at the same time. So all of that combined, making the damage higher, but also keeping you alive. So yeah, that's the build. That's the one-shot rifle build for solo players. Give it a go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Leave a like if you like the video. Subscribe, because, that really helps me. And it's free, so you can change your mind later. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.